Hello, and welcome to the Her Money, Her Business podcast. This is a podcast for women starting or growing their own business and features episodes about knowing your finances, improving your money confidence, as well as guest interviews with women just like you as part of the specialty series Everyday Business Heroes. If you wish you were good with money, want to feel more confident managing your money, or want to struggle less while making money, then you're in the right place. And if you're new around here, this podcast is brought to you by my course Money In, Money Out, that teaches you the basics of managing the money coming in and out of your business. I'm your host, Sonia Belzarolo, business financials coach, bookkeeper, and champion for women who want to be the master of their own financials. Let's get started. Hello, welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 40. So today I wanted to talk about 5 things to boost your business revenue. But before we get into that, I wanted to also let you know that the podcast is going to be on pause for June and July of 2024. So my business outside of running Her Money, Her Business is as a bookkeeper. It's what I do as part of my service-based business. And for me, June, July is the busiest time of the year for any bookkeeper. And so I am getting into things like reconciling my clients' accounts for the end of financial year in Australia, which finishes 30th of June, preparing and making sure that they're ready for their accountants to then go and do their taxes. Looking at work cover reporting is due come 30th of June. And there's other compliance reports that I do for clients depending on the industry that they're in. Also, just looking at chasing outstanding invoices and trying to get those payments through before end of financial year to keep the books tidy. Also looking at things like super payments and making sure those go through before the end of financial year so that they get into the tax year where they need to be. So there's lots to do for bookkeepers, and also you're probably going through similar things for your own business depending on what you do and what your industry is. So some of those things would be relevant to you too. So if you're not onto any of those things, I would definitely encourage you to get your bookkeeper and your accountant onto them, or if you're doing it yourself, remembering that there's only about 4 weeks left of this current financial year for Australian businesses. And so it's a great time to just knuckle down and make sure that you cover all those things off, because once 30th of June passes, then you're into that new financial year. I also wanted to remind you that this podcast is sponsored by the Money In, Money Out mini course that I have available. At the end of the podcast, you'll get a discount code if you want to listen for the end of that and grab that discount. So across that time while the podcast is not playing, if you do want to get in and get some help improving your finances, if you're doing them yourself in particular, then this is a self-paced course and you can run through that yourself. So that's Money In, Money Out. Okay, so let's get into the podcast topic, and that is 5 things to boost business revenue. So I know we're coming up again to the end of financial year, and certainly if you're wanting to increase your revenue in this next little bit to finish off the year strong, then these are some great tips, but also they apply for any time of year. It is always a good time to look at how to boost your business revenue and how to really double down on what you're doing to really get that revenue booming. So here's my 5 things. So the first one we're going to talk about is looking at the cost to deliver what you're delivering versus the pricing. So this is return on investment. So whatever your products or services are that you're delivering, what is the cost of delivering those? Is it worth it, both monetarily, the money you're getting back for what you're putting in, and the time it's taking for you to deliver that? So if it takes you a small amount of time, or perhaps if it's an ongoing product, let's say, it might not cost you any time at all if it's, let's say, a digital product. You've already created it. If it is a product you have to make, if you're a product-based, let's say a craft business, that sort of thing, or a product business, and you're having to make it, the time and the product or the materials that you need to put into that, what is that costing you to produce each item versus the money that you're getting? Do you feel good about what you're getting back for delivering that? Are you resentful that, oh my gosh, I'm making all these things, or I'm delivering this service and this is all I'm getting for it? So what you're putting in and the energy you're putting in and the time you're putting in, do you feel good about what you're getting back from that monetarily? Do you feel good about what you deliver and what your customers get on the other end? So these are all things to think about. So if any of those things don't make you feel good, then that is a sign that you need to have a look at it and either reduce the cost of delivering that or look at your pricing and increase the pricing. Or do you continue to offer this product or service? The other thing you might look at is, do you need to improve the volume of sales that you're doing? But if it's a smaller product, as an example, do you need to make more of them and sell more of them to then feel good about what you're getting back and the volume that you're getting back for that? So there's a number of ways you can look at the cost of delivering versus the price that you're selling in order to boost your revenue. If you know those things, you know where to play with the figures to boost your revenue. Okay, so that's number one. So number two is doubling down on the most profitable. So if you know what your most profitable product or service is, and do more and double down on getting that product or service out there, that will definitely boost your business revenue. You're really focusing on the thing that brings you the most money, and probably the most energetically, the most joy, and you enjoy delivering it, as well as monetary return for that. That is profitable in the best sense of the word, not just monetarily, but also the time and the energy you're putting in. That's a great profitability. And so thinking about that. So if you've done number one and you really know the cost of delivering versus the price you're getting, then you are able to double down and really focus on that most profitable product or service. So number three of how to boost your revenue is drop the thing or the client that isn't making much money but takes up a lot of your time. So don't monetarily and energetically bring yourself and your revenue down by continuing to do something because you feel like you should still offer that product or service, or you feel obligated to offer that product or service, or because you've always offered it. So make an informed decision on the facts and remove the emotion. If there's something that really energetically drains you from delivering it, if there is something that costs you a lot to deliver it, and then what you're getting back for that doesn't really make sense to you or balance out or make you feel good, or even just the fact that the amount of profit you get for what you are delivering is quite small and it's hard to make that revenue increase and boost, then think about dropping that and going back to number two and doubling down on the most profitable product or service that you have. So the number four thing I'm going to suggest to you to think about would be considering focusing your time on money making. So I see a lot of businesses and business owners, particularly small businesses and sole traders, where you're pretty much doing everything. It is very easy to get caught up in things that are not money making. So if you really focused on those things that make you money, then that is absolutely going to allow you to boost your revenue. So if you've got things on your to-do list, let's say, that's a good place to start, that not necessarily directly bringing in sales, then consider delegating them to someone else if you've got a team, automating some of those things, looking at ways you can automate them, or just delete them if they're not adding anything to your business and they're just nice to haves. So focusing on money making sounds easy, but it's actually not that easy when you are a small business or a sole trader and you're doing lots of the things yourself, if not all of the things yourself. So it's definitely a skill to sit down and look at what you've got to do for your day and to just focus on those things that make you money. But absolutely, that's where the gold lies in being able to boost your revenue and focusing on money making. And the last one, number five, is tell more to sell more. So what I mean by that is tell more people about what you do to increase your revenue. So sales to a certain degree is a numbers game. And that's probably a topic for another episode around how do you play with the numbers and know your numbers to know how many people, for example, you need in your world, potential customers in your world, because a percentage of those people will buy from you and a percentage of those won't, or percentage of those might wait a longer amount of time before they buy from you. So if you really know your numbers, then you're able to look at that and say, I need to get this many people into my world as potential customers, as audience members on social media, on my email list, etc., to be able to then have a percentage of those people actually buy my products and services. So that really is about telling more people about what you know, because if people don't know what you do, or if you're selling to the same people all the time, yes, you'll you'll get a percentage of those people over time then buying into your products or services as new customers. But there is an end to that. There is a point where those people are exhausted and then you need to look further afield. So telling more people and increasing your audience will increase your ability to sell more. Now, the key here is not to burn yourself out. So I'm not saying go crazy on social media or go crazy building your email lists in the next 30 days. That is build up over time, is working out the best way to tell more people and get in front of more people. So there's lots of different ways to do that. Again, that's probably another podcast episode, but it's really something to think about. How can you tell more people about what you do in the most effective way? So that might not be spending 10 hours on social media a week. It might be going and getting on lots of people's podcasts that are your ideal audience. It might be going and speaking at other people's events or in other people's Facebook groups, or just commenting in other people's Facebook groups. It might be doing some advertising. There's lots of different ways that could work for your business, and it's whatever is best for you. But part of your strategy, if you want to focus on increasing and boosting your revenue, is working out how to tell more people about what you do and making sure you enjoy whatever that process or that strategy is that you're adding into your business. Because if social media or if spending money on advertising or if talking to people on podcasts is not your thing and you're not going to enjoy it, then defeats the purpose. You're not actually going to project that energetic telling of more people and actually converting that over to sales. So, there's lots more to it than that, but definitely it's a numbers game. And telling more people about what you do is going to increase your revenue over time. So that is the 5 things that I suggest you could think about today to start looking at boosting your revenue and having a plan for the new financial year. So that's looking at the cost to deliver versus the pricing, your return on investment of what you're offering, doubling down on the most profitable product or service, dropping the thing or the client that isn't making you much money but takes up your time, focusing your time on money-making activities, telling more people to sell more of your product or services. So that's it for this episode. And that is it for the next 2 months. I'll be back in August with new podcast episodes and some new guests to come on for the Everyday Business Heroes series as well. We'll have a mixture of that happening. So until then, enjoy managing your business. Enjoy increasing your knowledge about your finances. Reach out if you need anything. And if you're ready to take the next step and jump into increasing your knowledge, then listen on for the discount for the Money In, Money Out mini course. Bye for now. This episode was brought to you by my mini course, Money In, Money Out. Head over to the website, blossomingbusiness.com.au for this episode's show notes under podcasts. And if you're ready to stop flying blind and tackle those finances, then sign up and get started on the Money In, Money Out course. So for still being here and being a podcast listener, you can use the discount code MIMO15 and get 15% off the course. So that's MIMO, number 1 and number 5, MIMO15. So you've been listening to the Her Money, Her Business podcast with me, Sonia Belzarolo. If you've enjoyed this episode, please also head over to iTunes and leave us a review. It really does help to get the podcast out to more people, and I love hearing your feedback. So thanks for listening. Here's to knowing your finances and growing your business, because it's your money and your business.